What's up guys, in this video we're going to do a short overview talking about the 13 speed cassettes that are out there that you can run with your Wheeltop group set. First one we're going to talk about is the Campagnolo Ekar, or Campy Ekar. What you need to run this system, you will have to have some different parts. You do have to have this, which is the N3W, actually goes that way, N3W free hub body to be able to fit the cassette on. Alright, so you have to buy that. Another thing too is you have to have this chain here. This is the Campy 13-speed chain, Campy Ekar 13-speed chain. What I will mention about this chain is these gaps in here are very, very, very small compared to the other chains that are out there. Okay, so the reason why that's a big deal is because your pulley teeth are narrower on the Ekar system, and you'll have to either Dremel, you can see this is an old pulley here, I just pulled it up from the side, it's all worn out, but you'll have to Dremel all these teeth smaller to be able to have the chain actually work with this. And that's the same situation too with your chain ring. So I've actually taken a chain ring in the past, like this one right here, and I've actually Dremeled these to be smaller to actually fit this chain on this chain ring. Okay, if you don't Dremel it, or if you don't have a specific Ekar chain ring, then this chain will not work. So the 13-speed system does require that. A few things there. This here, this is a bit of a crazy cassette, but the basis of this cassette is this is an Ekar 13-speed cassette here, and it does have a Leonardi extension on there, 2 gears. So this is actually a 15-speed cassette, but we're not here to talk about this cassette right now. We'll do that in another video. I just want to show you the Campy cassette here, so that gives you an idea. This one goes from a 9 to a 36, 9 to a 36 tooth there. I will say that this spacing on this cassette is very good. When I say that, it means that the smaller cogs are nice tight gear ratios, so the jumps aren't too bad when you're at high speeds. And then as it gets higher, obviously it's going to gap out a little more. If you're just riding like mountain bike stuff, then these gears don't really, like the jumps don't matter as much. But Campy does have the best jumps out of all the companies when it comes to their cassettes. So as you see here, you'll need the specific chain ring, a specific pulley wheels. The benefit of this whole group set of Ekar is actually it can fit any frame out there. It does not have to be like UDH or anything like that. So if you don't have a frame that's UDH, really this is one of your few options when you want to go 13 speed. Okay, now we're going to talk about the SRAM XPLR stuff and really why you might run into an issue if you do not have a UDH frame. So I'll go ahead and explain how this works. What you'll need obviously is an XDR free hub drive for your wheel set, and you'll need a flat top chain, which is this right here, the 12-speed, 13-speed flat top. They're the same thing. Now you also need the 13-speed cassette, which they have here, and the issue that you have with SRAM is actually this is a 12-speed cassette right here, a 10 to 36, all right, XPLR level. This is the Force new 13-speed, and just so you kind of get a comparison, what they've done is this is a 10 to 38, so it's essentially the same as this cassette, except they put a 38 tooth on right here, and then they threw a 46 tooth on at the end of it. All right, now you may ask, well, how do they get the space to do that? And that's where the UDH frames come in. What they've done with the UDH frames, if you look at this UDH hanger right here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a good little lip right here. You can see all that gap right there. Okay, so it has a nice little lip. They essentially have pushed the cassettes outboard. All right, so if you have, let's say this is a UDH frame right here, and then you have your cassette. Let me move this out of the way. You have your cassette. If you run a normal, try to run this 13-speed cassette on with a normal UDH hanger, that 10 tooth is going to hit right there. Okay, what they've done is with the 13-speed cassettes, which you have here, when you go with the UDH, this right here is a lot shallower. You can see it right there. Okay, so because that's shallower, and this is a lot shorter on top here, so it allows the 10 tooth to actually go outboard a little bit. All right, and so you get a little more room outboard. And since it's shorter this way, not as wide, then it allows the chain to actually wrap around here fine and not actually hit the hanger. Okay, so that's why you can't use the 13-speed cassette just with a normal setup. Now there's some hacks you can do. What I've done before when I figured this out is I actually took a UDH hanger here and I just dremeled off some of this to give room for that 10 tooth to actually fit there. That worked fine. When I was running the Wheeltop GEX rear derailleur, that worked great. Then I had one actually made for me out of aluminum. You can see that is a lot shorter than, I should say a lot thinner than that. You can kind of see there. I'm trying to get the light right. I know it's kind of hard to see. So yeah, so you can run the Wheeltop, but you once again, you have to have a UDH frame with a UDH hanger that you can modify. Now let's say you don't have a UDH frame. What you have to do in that situation is you have to run like a washer right here on through your through axle, all right, and your end cap to push everything outboard a little bit. And it will make your wheel sit, you know, a few millimeter off center. You can actually dish your wheel differently if you want to take up for that gap. But to be able to run it with a non-UDH frame, you have to use something like this. This is actually from a Garmin Rally power meter pedal. It's really the perfect spacing for it because you know, it's decently thick. It's stainless steel, so it doesn't rust, and it fits perfectly in the dropout when you have to put it in there like that. So, but that's really the only thing you can do as far as SRAM if you want to run it. As far as the chainring up front, this here is a chainring that's compatible with it, obviously. But I have found that actually even the old school, like 11-speed, 1-bias stuff, works with these flat top chains fine. I haven't had one crack on me or anything of that nature. So the inside of these are closer to previous 12-speed chains. So as we see here, a few things you need: XDR free hub, you do need the UDH frame or a spacer. Also a modified hanger if you're going to do the UDH frame. The pros with this, obviously the parts are very common from SRAM. They're basically going to any bike shop, they're going to have these parts. No new chainring. If you already have like an 11 or a 12-speed chainring, you know, up front, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to put new pulleys on your rear derailleur because once again that chain actually fits fine. It does have a good gear ratio and spread, similar to Campy. SRAM have improved upon this in the past. With the previous 12-speed, they did have issues as far as this goes. Okay, so SRAM is a great option, but you do have to do some modifications to make it work. Now, as far as Rotor goes, Rotor does have a 13-speed cassette, and if you don't know, Wheeltop actually acquired a majority stake into Rotor, so Wheeltop does own Rotor, so it'd be interesting to see what they come up with that. Now, talking about the Rotor cassettes, they have great spacing, similar to the Ekar and the XPLR cassettes as well. A few things: you only need a HG free hub body. Okay, so when you're talking about an HG free hub body, that's the most common free hub body that there is, really. This is just the old school Shimano. Very, very common. You know, a lot of wheel sets already have that. So you only need that. The only problem with it is you need a specialty hub because I can't really show you right here, but I'll just kind of I'll do an overlay as well. What their hub what they've done with their hub is essentially the flanges that go right here. They've moved them inboard a little bit to allow the free hub to move this way. And what that's allowed them to do is throw that 10 tooth on their 12-speed cassette, because they have 12-speed cassettes too that are really good. But the 12-speed cassettes are identical to their 13-speed cassettes. They just added a 10 tooth at the end. So for that cassette to work, you have to have the Rotor's rear hub. So you have to lace that onto your frame. So that's a big downside with the Rotor cassettes. They're super lightweight. I mean, they are really, really nice. I've had one before myself. But you know, once again, you have to have the specialty hub, or you might have to use like you could use a regular HG hub and use spacers, but I think you have to use more spacers than normal. So it's really going to offset that tire, you know, in the middle of your frame. So I would kind of caution that a little bit. As far as this goes, the pros with it, you can use a regular 12-speed chain with this. All right, so that's what's really cool about it. So KMC 12-speed works really well for that. Regular HG free hub body, common chain ring. You don't have to change out your front chain ring. And like I said before, good gear ratio and spread. The only problem, once again, you're going to have to modify or use a Rotor rear hub or have a spacer that actually moves that cassette where you have room there. Now, the last cassette I want to talk about, actually there's a lot of them. They're on AliExpress, and they have them in XDR and HG free hub bodies. They use regular 12-speed chains. You don't have to have a UDH frame, so that's good. Some things you have to look out for is, you know, obviously their shifting is not going to be as good as the mainstream brands out there. Also, I was going to mention too, their gear ratios are almost, they're essentially mountain bike cassettes is what they are. They go from a 1050 to a 1052. They have huge range, But those smaller cogs, where you want the closer gear ratios, they go like 10, 12, 14, 16. There's no one tooth jumps. Same thing with like the 11. It goes 11, 13, 15, and so on. So your gear ratios are not very good with this. So in my opinion, you're not getting the benefit of a 13-speed cassette. You know, when you go larger gear, or more gears, I should say, when you go more gears, the big benefit of that is having closer gears and more range. What they've done is they've kept the same range as a 12-speed, you know, cassette, and then you have the jumps just like a 12-speed mountain bike cassette. So that's a problem with that. Obviously, you have to look, they're cheap, you know, and they're common parts. So it's real easy to run 13-speed, but once again, you're not really getting the benefits of tighter gears. If you are doing like a bike packing rig or something of that nature, and you're always going to have mountain bike tires, that cassette would be perfect for you. But as far as in most situations with gravel riding, it's not going to be that great. And the last part I want to talk about is some hacks you could do to get a 13-speed cassette. So like I said before, with the new SRAM 13-speed stuff, they essentially just moved the whole cassette outboard, added that 46 tooth to get the range there. So what you can do is actually, if you look on these cheaper 12-speed cassettes, this is the Rival right here. This is a 1036. You see this lip that's right there? You can actually Dremel that off, and that gives you room to take an extender like this. This is a 42 tooth extender, and you can actually put it on there, and it will fit and make it a 13-speed cassette. Once again, though, you still need to have the UDH frame or use a spacer to allow it to move outboard to clear. But I've run this several times before, and it works really well. But once again, you have to have that UDH frame. So this would be a 1042 13-speed cassette there. I've also done it with this right here is a 12-speed, and this is the old 12-speed Explorer, which goes 1044. And then if you see here, I've actually already Dremeled off and removed that back lip right here. And then I've taken one of these old school, this is those 1-up components. They used to have the 50 tooth extenders. I did machine this down a little bit to make it a little thinner. And then essentially that can go on right there. And then you have a 1050 tooth, you know, cassette here that's 13-speed. So these are a few hacks I've done before. They work really well. And then, you know, obviously I've mentioned before that 15-speed. I've done a 14-speed cassette as well. I don't have it any longer, but it worked really well. It actually was a Campy cassette, and then what we did was we put it was a 936 Campy cassette, 13-speed. Then we put a 42 tooth extender on it like this because it has 5 bolts on the back side, and I was able to attach it right there. And so we ran 14-speed for a little bit, and that was really, really good. Honestly, in my opinion, that would be probably one of the best setups for Campy if you want to try 14-speed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this video. We hope you found it beneficial. If you could like this video, also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos like this in the future. Also, if you have any ideas for 13-speed, 14-speed, 15-speed cassettes, be sure to put them down in the comments so we all benefit from that. I will have some videos coming out in the future with the Wheeltop GEX gravel group set, so be sure to tune in for that as well. And we'll see you in the next video.